And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Connected for Real podcast. I'm Rebbetzin Bat-Chen Grossman. And today we're talking about why now. So, why now? A lot of things come up in your life and opportunities knock on your door. And there is this feeling of, mm, is now the right time? Should I just wait? And I was thinking about this for a long time. And today I am excited to let you in on some of the things that I found when I was journaling about why now. Because I had this belief about myself that one day I'm supposed to be famous and people are going to know who I am and I'm going to have an impact on the world. And it's something that was pretty clear to me and was freaky, very scary because I was afraid of speaking in public. So I'm like, how am I going to be famous if I can't even speak to my class? In high school, I just blacked out and my hands would shake. I couldn't speak in public. So for me to be on this podcast now and on YouTube is a miracle in itself. And the coolest thing is that it really is part of the process that I have gone through. So anyway, anytime anything came into my mind, like I want that, or oh, I really wish I could do that, my brain would automatically say, okay, one day. And that was it. And so when I was journaling now, many, many years after I've, first had to shift my beliefs about now and why now, I'm now looking at it differently. Obviously, I used to think one day, and it hit me that I don't have one day, I have now. And so this is all I have. And being a perfectionist that I am or was, let's just pretend that I'm not anymore. It's still in your blood. If you're a perfectionist, you want everything to be perfect. But you can heal some of that moving forward, even when things are imperfect, and learning to be imperfect and making that okay. But at the time when I was very much a perfectionist, I wanted all the ducks in a row. I wanted to know that everything was exactly as it needed to be. And then one day when I have all these things ready, I will be ready. And then I will start, or I will do, or I will be. It's exhausting because it's sitting on your mind, it's draining your energy, and you're never really ready. And there's never really a perfect time. And so it's all these like open to-do lists in your mind. They're just sucking your energy, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. What I actually found was that God put the want in me and wants me to go after that even when I'm not ready. And then when I get there, I suddenly realize looking back that, oh, cool, like I'm here. And the process was just one little adjustment at a time. But when you can take that little adjustment at a time, then you will see the big leaps. Like, it's really not about big leaps. My brain is still looking for breakthroughs that look like, oh, I was just a regular person. And then suddenly, like, $1 million showed up in my life because I got all the things just in the right order. And I did everything that they all said to do. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. Even people who are millionaires who are talking about their process will say, my overnight success took 10 years or whatever it is, right? So it's always in process. And one day when things are right, then all aligns. But there is no such thing as overnight success because you have to expand yourself to be able to hold that. Okay, we're going on a tangent here. So let me bring myself back. Why now? So, as you guys know, I am a marriage coach for women in business or successful careers. I really expanded that because a lot of you have asked, is it okay that I don't have a business? I am a doctor, a lawyer, a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, lots of really awesome people doing awesome things. And you still want to work with me. So I have expanded it. So anyway, I'm a marriage coach for women in business or successful careers. And what that means is that there's an intersection between your marriage and your success. your marriage and you going after your dreams. Now, I've heard a lot of people who are coaching moms who are also CEOs or moms who want to start a business, but they are focusing on you as a mom and your role as a mom, and the marriage sort of is secondary. I don't agree. I believe that, first of all, you have to take care of yourself because you are you, right? Then your husband, then your children. So when you're going to invest in anything, you invest in your marriage because your marriage will automatically affect your children. And your marriage will also be that support system and that container for your dreams and for your ability to go after the thing you're here to do. So it's really important to realize that not a lot of people are talking about this. And I found out, I guess, the easy way or the hard way. I'm not really sure which way, but I decided to be a marriage coach, but I decided to really niche down. Why? Because I was a graphic designer and I was telling everybody under the sun that they need to niche down because the more specific you are, the easier it is for you to communicate what you do visually and also verbally. And so I knew that marriage was the core, and I knew that if I could fix marriage, I could fix everything else. And I've done it in my own marriage, and I've done it, now with, thank God, all these women who I've worked with. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for letting me into your life. Thank you for allowing me to hold your hand as you created a new reality for yourself. I'm so, so, so grateful. The world of marriage advice and all of that industry wasn't feeling so aligned for me. A lot of the advice that was being given wasn't working for me because I was a business owner, because I was the one who was, bringing in the money. My husband's a rabbi. He's writing books and articles and, recording YouTube videos, answering questions day and night. He's awesome. Like, I don't want to say that I'm the one who makes the money because God makes the money, but I'm the one the money comes through. Okay. And I used to fight this. I used to want it to come through him. I used to say, God, if you want, if you're so God, why can't you just make it come through him? But it's not about the money as much as it was about me becoming myself and really growing into who I needed to be. So I'm very grateful to God that he pushed me into this and sort of kept guiding me. But I also had a lot of inner conflicts. I had a lot of headbuttings with the concept of being married and growing a business, being successful, more successful than him in some ways, trying to figure out this duality of what is my role, because I'm so mother and wife. I so want to be there. That's my ideal. That's where I want to be. That is my priority in life. That's what matters the most to me. Like at the end of the day, if I had to choose, of course, I want my wifely and motherly self to be successful because that's where I leave the biggest impact and that's where I can really show up fully. But I was feeling called and I was feeling like I wanted to be doing this thing. And I kept sort of half playing it. Like even as a graphic designer, I remember a lot of times I was growing my business, but holding myself back. I always had this pull, like grow, but not too much. Go forward and then pull back. It's exhausting because when you grow, you just want to grow. Why are you holding yourself back? And, for me personally, it was that I thought my husband was going to be jealous. I thought it was going to change the dynamics of our marriage. I was already feeling like he was feeling lower about himself anytime I got any higher. So I didn't want to shake that up. I didn't want to make him suffer. I'm very into win-win. And I just felt like if this is not win-win, it's not working. Those are my personal reasons why I was feeling pulled, but everybody has their own thing. And, maybe you're sitting there going, I can't relate, or I can totally relate. All answers are acceptable, right? Because it's just your reality and how you're living your life. And if you're feeling that pull and that conflict, then that's exactly what I'm here for. When I decided to be a marriage coach and then niched down to women in business and then to successful careers, I found myself in a new spot that wasn't being filled. It's almost like I'm the only one who came up with this. Like nobody else is talking about marriage and business and that conflict and that intersection and where you go from here. Extremely interesting because I thought it was going to be very saturated. And it turned out it's not. So, as I said, there is a lot of talk from a mother perspective. And if you guys listen to the podcast, you probably know a lot of my guests are these awesome, awesome women who are helping people in all sorts of ways. And some of them are, time management and how to manage your home and how to manage your kids and how to figure it out. But really, the intersection between marriage and business, I'm finding that, and this is really the reason why I started my podcast, is because I felt like nobody was talking about it. And it's something that has to be spoken about because it is so crucial. Why is it so crucial? Because your marriage is your safety, right? It's you and your husband became one and you created a container. And together in that container, you are growing and creating that impact. But what happens when you want to expand? If you expand yourself without preparing the container for that expansion, what's going to happen is it's going to burst on one side, right? It's like the egg when you boil eggs, and there's always an egg that explodes and bursts, to the side. Why does it burst that way? Because there was an opening there and it sort of like swooshed out. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to have this like rigid marriage that doesn't allow for expansion. And then the expansion has to explode on the side where it ends up pulling you away because this is just the only way the energy flows. Instead, can we expand the marriage capacity? Can we expand the support that you're getting? Can we expand the ability to contain more within this relationship that is so sacred and beautiful so that you can start to grow and then the growth becomes exponential because it affects your husband's growth because he is opening up to receive just like you're opening up to receive? Can we expand together? And I believe that this is the coolest thing and the best thing that I have landed on because now that I am living it and helping others live it, it's awesome. Now, you probably think I work with the couple because of the way I'm speaking, but it's actually not true. I only work with the wife. Why do I only work with the wife? A, because I believe guys don't like being taken by the ear and dragged to the principal's office. Anytime there was like, oh, I'm going to couples therapy, there's this, I feel so bad about myself. I'm probably a failure. There's something I'm not doing right that I need help. They don't see this as a positive thing. They don't feel like they want to be there. And as much as they're willing to go because they're a nice husband and they understand that this makes you happy, not all men are going to gain as much as possible from the experience. And some men will, by the way. Couples therapy is awesome if it works for you. Keep doing it. And there's a lot of couples therapists out there who I highly recommend. Like, really, go, go, go. No problem. But I'm talking to those who know their husbands are not the type and are having a hard time with this whole thing. They become very defensive if they feel like they're doing something wrong, if they feel like they need an external person to tell them how to fix a relationship that's supposed to be intimate. It doesn't work for them. It just doesn't jive. So I only work with the wife. And I'm doing this because I only worked on myself when I was trying to figure out my marriage. And granted, my husband's awesome and he started to expand himself, sort of like as a natural thing that happened. And that's exactly what I want you to understand, that when you work on yourself and you start to change the dance and you start to become your fullest self and you start to bring in expansion, it's contagious. And the people who are closest to you are going to pick up on that right away. And they're going to want more, and they're going to start to stick to you in order to get more of that dust of expansion. The spaciousness, the availability, the ability to contain more grows as you expand yourself. And the calm, the flow, that inner peace becomes so much louder, which makes no sense because calm is not loud, but you know what I'm saying? Like we're amplifying the emotions of calm, flow, at peace, in alignment. And when you see someone who is in alignment, you're like, I want to be like them, right? I remember telling Kaya Weissman, a woman who used to live here, who was awesome. She ran the house and did all this stuff. She was so cool. I would just go and watch her run a house and be with her kids, and just like, she was so awesome. Anyway, I told her, I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be like you, right? Like in my head, when I grow up, like, yeah, whatever. But like, you know what I mean? When you see someone who's so authentic with themselves, in alignment, in this peaceful, self-aware place, and they're just showing up the way they are and they have this freedom to them, the first thing you say is, I want to get closer to them. I want to be like them. I want it to like stick on me, right? Because it's inspiring. And that's what you're becoming, right? That's really like, people ask me, what do you do? I don't know, I help you expand and bring inner peace and create a calm and flow atmosphere in your home. Like that's really what I do. Like go sell that. I don't know. It's just, it's just what I do. It's so cool. It's so cool when you become that and your husband just sort of like joins you because naturally magnetifies. I'm sure that was a word. You become the magnet to other people seeing, hey, I want that. I want to be like that. How do I get there? And then you're just going to share what works for you. And you're not going to be all like, oh, look at me, because that's not your personality. You're not like that. But you're really so yourself that it won't even be an issue, right? It's so cool. So all that to explain what I do to all those who aren't sure. But anyway, I love these solo episodes where I just go and get to talk to myself and nobody is listening. And that's, by the way, why I love having guests, because it's fun to bounce back and forth. But today I'm having a great time bouncing off myself and off the walls. So I'm happy you're listening. The only offer I have right now to work with me is called Balance for God's Sake, and it's a 3-month private coaching program. So we work together one on one. You have anytime chat support, so WhatsApp support or email support. And you get access to all of my trainings, all of my sessions, all of the courses, like anything I've created in the past, you have access to, and a meditation library, which I myself use. And I'm so blown away every time at the amount of clarity and downloads that come through. That is so cool. It's so cool. Anyway, it's like a list of all the meditations, and just you could pick by title or you could pick by time, like available time for you. Those are cool things. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. That's what's happening right now. Doors are open, and I want you to listen to yourself and really feel your body. Do you really want it? Do you want that expansion, that feeling of freedom to be yourself? Do you want to feel supported and held and contained within your marriage so that the expansion can grow evenly and really smoothly and beautifully? And if you connect to yourself, notice I'm using step 1 of the calm method. Always works. Connect to yourself, and the answer is yes. Then what's stopping you? Why now? right? So I could say, why now? Like, come on, join us. Doors are open right now and they're closing soon. And all you need to do is go to connectedforreal.com/coaching. And that would be awesome. But also, why now? Why are you feeling like now is the time? What is this calling doing right now? And when I was thinking of now, I was started to tell you about my journaling about now and why now. A lot of us are drained by past decisions, either the decisions we've made that weren't successful or decisions we haven't made that we should have or could have made that led us to here, right? So, for example, I could have, I should have, and now it's too late. So, it's never too late. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time, just for those who didn't hear in the back. It is never too late. It's never too late to expand yourself. It is never too late to allow your calling to shine brightly and impact others. You are here in this world, and if you are listening to this, you are obviously alive. And if you are alive, it is not too late for you. Please take action now. Okay? Don't stress over the past. Go forward. Just allow yourself to be right here, right now, because that's all we have, the present, right? You can't live in the past. And the past living in your head is just not working for you. Okay. And then there's those who are telling me I've made decisions in the past that didn't work. I've hired coaches that weren't the right fit for me or didn't get me there. Or I've bought courses, that were DIY and I didn't really DIY them because I can't follow through or because blah, blah, blah. So if I've made decisions in the past that didn't work, that failed, that didn't get me to the result I wanted, so your brain is saying, well, why now? Because then it didn't work. So no for now, right? So you're basically jailing yourself now because of things that happened in the past. Well, meanwhile, the past has already passed and you are here now. Don't let yourself do that. Don't let yourself lose out just because of things that happened in the past. About those failed attempts, I want to just tell you, if you can learn something from them, they're not failures. So if you purchased a DIY course and you didn't even open it and it sat on your to-do list and you said you were going to do it and then you didn't do it and you printed out the papers but you didn't actually get to it, and all these things that we all do, and I'm totally there with you. It's just something that happens when you buy something you think you're going to do and then you don't do, right? It's like, I need more support than that. I know that now. And so I was able to move forward in alignment. So, what does the alignment mean? The lesson I learned is that I need accountability. I need a live person there. I need to know that somebody is waiting for me on the other side, right? So, I get coaching that is live and that has a personal aspect to it. They know my name, they know what I do, and they are expecting me to show up. I will not purchase courses that don't have those two aspects because I know myself. It's also why I created my program to be that way, because I tend to make things that work for me, right? So if I know about myself that I can't trust myself to show up to something that is recorded and nobody cares if I do it or not, I'm not going to create one like that. And I have created the Fly program, which was a, self-paced, do it yourself. It was cheaper and people were happy with it, but I think maybe one person went through 80%. Was never finished, even though many people went through it. And it's just not in alignment with what I'm here to do. If I'm here to create impact, if I'm here to actually help you change the atmosphere in your home and actually create this new reality, I'm not, with all honesty, going to sell you something that is not going to be consumed, right? I have to be sure that this is going to be to your advantage. So that's why the program I made is very, very specific to making sure that you show up and making sure that you're taking action. And if you're ever stuck, you know where to turn. That doesn't mean that there's a lot of work, by the way. it doesn't mean that there's a lot of work. It's once every other week, right? I made this so doable and so available that it is extremely easy for you to know, is this for me or not? Okay. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about why now and we're talking about the past. But then there's the future of, I'm going to follow my calling or do my thing when the kids are older, when my husband retires, when I have more money, when I don't know what, there's so much our brain makes up stories and all sorts of things that, reality will change and then I will, right? Or like when I'm ready. People say time heals or time does its thing. It's not always the case, right? Time will do what time does, but if you don't intentionally ride the train will pass by and you're not advancing even though time passes. I'm not really into that. You get to be intentional and then use time to your advantage, which is even if you take one tiny little step today, you are ahead and you don't have to be consistent. You just have to take that one tiny step. And sometimes the tiny step is towards something that will hold your hand and make sure that you're consistent, which is what this program is like. But sometimes it's just okay to take a step forward and for it not to have to be anything bigger than that because we just want to keep moving forward. So we're talking about your calling. And when we talk about your calling, I'm trying to avoid making this too much of an actual session, but man, my body is calling me to slow you down. So let's take a deep breath and just slow down. What do you really want? And if you're in the mood to sit down and journal on this, go ahead. But if you're multitasking, that's fine too. Just answer it right now in your head. What do I really want? What am I feeling called to do, to go after, to expand? And then I want you to notice the resistance that comes in the form of a but. Did you notice that? But I can't. But it's not the right time. But I don't have the money. But the industry is flooded. But I'm not as good as them. But I don't follow through. But I'm not perfect enough. I'm not sure what came up for you, but these are the things that come up for me when I think I'm feeling called to do this thing. Oh, another one is, but I'm afraid. Oof, man, fear likes to take over my body when I think of what I want, what I really want. My body will right away shrink up and be like, no, but we can't. It's too scary. And so automatically, your brain is trying to protect you. It's like, never mind, close the windows, close the doors, close the shutters. We are not going after this calling. We're not going after this dream. We are just going back to living our life, thinking small, and being okay with what is, which is great. People tell me, I've come to acceptance that my husband is this way, or I've come to acceptance that I can't have this thing. That's nice, except you didn't actually come to acceptance. Acceptance is like being fully in alignment and feeling like it's the best thing in the world. Coming to acceptance, when you use it this way, means I can't have what I want, but I guess I won't have it. So there's no other way than to just accept it. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, that's not acceptance. We could probably do like a whole year's worth of episodes on acceptance, but you know, don't do that. It's not true, okay? Here you are. There's a calling inside you. There's something you want. There's something bigger calling you to leap, and it's bigger than yourself, right? Like you're not being called to become big. You're being called to expand so that something bigger has room. Sometimes it's more abundance in the physical, money. Sometimes it's more space. Sometimes it's more creativity. Sometimes it's all of the above. Sometimes more love, more peace, more abundance in the connection to God, just the way that you hold yourself and the way that you are, your flow, whatever it is that you want was put there by God on purpose right now. And it could be there like, you've been fighting it for a while. That's also a possibility. It's okay. Right now is all you have, right? So everything that happened until this point, it was preparing you for this moment. So thank the past and let's move forward. Right now, in this moment, you are feeling God calling you. It's not just like a want of, oh, I want chocolate. It's like, I want impact. I want fulfillment. I want growth. I want expansion. That's the type of calling. And God put that there on purpose. And he is pressing that button right now, right? It's like, it's not something you can put aside or just sort of shove in some corner. It is here now. Your brain first reaction is to shut down and not want, be like, never mind, we don't want. Better not to want, better not to declare that this is what I want so that I could just hide behind being normal, which, is funny because I don't know who decides who's normal anyway. Instead, I want you to realize that your brain is giving you objections, right? Just like in business, people will give you objections for why they can't buy or why it's not the right time or whatever. Objections are an invitation to go deeper. They are not a walk away, close the door, don't ever talk to me about it again. Your brain is bringing up these objections so that you can address them. So instead of running away and shutting down and just shutting, everything, let's sit down with them and have a conversation. Like, I can't. Really? You can't? Because God put you here in this world. He gave you this calling. He set you up to be exactly where you are right now with all of the things you've had to go through, and you think you can't? So, first of all, when I had this thought, the first response that came in for me was like, who are you to decide you can't? Like, if God decided you can, and he's the one giving you all the tools and all the skills and all the abilities and all the gifts, then who are you to decide you can't? Like, that was the thing that pushed me over the edge. I was like, okay, fine, I'll try, or at least I'll show up, right? It's like once you realize that God is here and God is running the show and you are just working for God, then like, okay, you want me to show up? I'll show up, right? Like now I'm doing this podcast. I'm showing up. Am I fully prepared? Do I have word for word what I'm going to say? Obviously not, because that's not me and that's not how I tick. But, in my head, I would like to think that I need it to be perfect before I can even show up. But like, God wants me to show up. I'm showing up and I'm here. So I can't. What if you can? What if you don't need to be capable of that thing that you need in the future? All you need to do is be capable of right now committing to yourself, committing to this calling, committing to God. And then God will show you step by step how to get there. He'll show you the right people to follow. He'll show you the right things to join. He'll show you the right places to invest. He'll show you what to do, and you're just going to do it. You're going to commit to showing up, not commit to doing it. So when you think I can't, that's coming from a place of it's all on me. I'm doing it. And it's like, no, you're not. Where's your humility? God put you here and gave you all the things. He's going to show you what to do. Like, you don't have to figure it all out yourself. You're not doing this alone. So stop that. That's just chatter. Another objection that we get that's very common is I don't have time. My plate is full. And so the obvious answer is, okay, so take something off your plate and make room. But actually, I don't think that's the truth. Because I believe so much in expansion, I actually think you should just get a bigger plate. You can have everything you already have and still have more space and more time in your life because there is a concept that is above nature that we're tapping into when we let God in. God decides how much we can contain, right? The energy level, our physical abilities, our emotional capacities, all of that is straight from God. In one of the blessings in the morning, we say, Hanoten laya'ef koach. God gives the tired energy. And I love that one because, like, how did he know that I was going to need to be reminded every single morning that he is the source of energy? Right? Like, you think, oh, how am I going to get through the day? I'm exhausted. I didn't sleep. My baby woke me up, blah, 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 all the story. And then it's like, nope, daily reminder, God's the source. Let's move it along. Right? So, bring it back to that relationship that actually matters. The source of energy is God, the source of time. He is above time. He is above nature. God is God. You think he can't help you figure out 1 hour every other week to sit down and make space within yourself for a larger, bigger calling for impact and fulfillment? What is that? That doesn't make any sense. So, I don't have enough time. Create time by allowing yourself to expand. Instead of getting things off your plate, get a bigger plate. Expand your vessel. Allow yourself to contain. Allow yourself to receive and allow it to flow through you to all the people who you can impact. Some of the other ones that I've said, like the industry is flooded and is saturated. Just go in the supermarket and look at the candy aisle. Like, really? Everybody needs that much candy? It's not even a food. I'm sorry to all the people who love candy. It's not even a food. It's not like, people say, go look at the bread aisle, which is also true because there's a million different types of bread and they're all selling. Like, they're all on the shelves. So obviously they're all selling, right? There is so much variety. There's so much in the same industry, and yet everybody likes their specific type, and everybody is attracted to the thing that really clicks with them. So, yes, there are a million coaches out there, but I'm the only Bat-Chen. Nobody else. I mean, there's a lot of other Bat-Chens, but I'm the only Rebbetzin Bat-Chen Grossman, right? I know some people are like, what? Your name is not made up? No, it's an actual name, Bat-Chen. Bat is daughter, Chen is Grace. And so my parents' initials are Chen, and I am the daughter of Chen. It was very cute. It worked out very well for them. And there are many, many Bat-Chens all over the world. I have met them, not met them all, but I've met a bunch of them. And it's really fun. It's really fun. They're all awesome, by the way. It's a cool name. I highly recommend it if you ever wanted to name a baby Bat-Chen, like, go for it. It's a great name. But just take into consideration that non-Jews cannot pronounce it. It's very hard. So take that with a grain of salt. Okay, so the industry is flooded. I don't care. God doesn't care either. You are unique and God will show you exactly where you fit. Just like I fit into this box of marriage and business, and specifically for faith-based women and, women who only want to work without pulling their husbands along and making them come to a session or whatever. And maybe there is someone else out there in the world who's doing something very similar, but not exactly, right? And so, like, you will find your niche. Because God creates niches, not because you are going to create it, because you're going to arrive when you start moving. Okay? The last thing I want you to do is just stay still. If you're listening to this podcast, you are being called to take action, but the action needs to be aligned. It has to be God-led, and it comes from a place of true alignment to what you want, to what God wants, and to where you are being called. Clear? All good? Great. One of the common objections I get is I don't have the support of my family. I don't have the support of my husband. I don't have the support of my parents. They don't get what I'm doing. They don't understand, blah, blah, blah. That's okay. That's okay. The time is still now. Even if they don't get it, I don't think time will do much to help you move them along fast enough to where you want them to be. Instead, I highly recommend getting on a discovery call for this one, by the way. You can have a free discovery call if you go to connectedforreal.com. There's a button there for free discovery call. It's 60 minutes with me. We can go through all of these objections, your unique situation. I actually create a custom plan for you to then implement on your own if you would like to. And I invite you to work with me if you want to. It's so valuable just on its own. Like this comes up all the time. My husband doesn't get it, or my husband doesn't support it, or my husband thinks that coaching is a fake industry, or I don't know, all these things that people say, which is fine. They're allowed to say it. This is their protective mechanism. So we're not going to fight it, but we are going to get really silent with it and listen to what is being told, what lessons are coming up, what gold nuggets we can collect from these objections, even when they are other people's. Okay. I have a 4-step process of how to talk to your husband about joining my coaching. Just putting it out there. I'm very happy to share it with you. Come and join me. You can schedule a 15-minute call, or you can schedule a full free discovery call. They are both free. I'm happy to meet you. I'm happy to talk about your specific needs and your specific situation. This is what I'm here for. I am fully showing up to being there for you. So take advantage. Okay? I'm giving you permission to take advantage. Isn't that awesome? And then let's talk about the money, because money ends up being one of the biggest objections for people, and it's uncomfortable. Money is one of the most uncomfortable things. People don't like talking about money. They say that people don't like talking about money more than they don't like talking about intimacy. And because this is a podcast about marriage, and because you guys know me, I'm very, very sensitive to speaking in the most respectful way about intimacy. I'm not going to say much about that, except that there is an entire intimacy masterclass as part of the trainings that you get when you join, and that on our calls, we sometimes heal a lot of what's going on in the intimacy, and it is 100% worthwhile to come and join if this is something that you are interested in. Putting it out there, moving along to the next topic that we actually are talking about, which is money. So I have a bunch of payment plans you could pay up front. The price for 3 months is $2,500. You can pay in a split pay, which is 2 months in a row. You can divide it into 5, which means $500 times 5. And I even went all the way to creating a $50 a week for 50 weeks payment plan. I did this because I see how real it is. The struggle is part of our reality. I don't think and I don't expect everybody to just have the money and pay. $50 a week is uncomfortable, and that's okay. You can handle the discomfort, because where does the money come from? God. And if God is calling you and he put you through this and you're listening till almost the end and you're sitting there going, but I can't pay for it. And I wish I could, but I can't. Instead of fighting your brain, being like, I wish I can and I can't, and this is not fair, and I wish, and da 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 da, right? Like very icky energy. Just stop for a second. Let's get back to the call method. Connect to yourself. I really want this. I really, really want this. I found the coach that works for me. I found the thing that I feel is like, yes, this is it. It's calling my name. Take a deep breath. Bring God into it. Ask for abundance. God, if this is your will and you're the one who led me to this, then show me how. Then help me. And just take a moment to quiet everything and allow the answer to come to you. Where is the money available? Where can I tap in? Who can I ask? What can I do? The answer is coming to you when you are ready to hear it. But instead of being in head-to-head mode, fighting this reality, just melt into it. Allow God to show you. It's incredible what happens when you open yourself up. And look at me, I'm coaching you even though you're not even here yet. But this is what we do. Allow the abundance in, people. Let it in, let it in, let it in. Open your eyes, open your ears, open your mind, open your heart. Allow God to download the answer of where is the money going to come from. And you might not even need the payment plan. Look at that. But it is available for you, $50 a week for 50 weeks. We work together first, we expand, we allow for more abundance. And as that is going, you are just paying in the background. So many people signed up for the $50 a week and ended up making their money back before they even finished the 3-month program. So many women signed up to work with me, started expanding themselves, and their husbands started making more money. Their husbands got a better job. Their husbands got a raise. Poof! What is that? That's amazing. That's how God works. That is how God works. When you expand and you let Him control the world, He controls it in the best way possible. But you got to let Him. We got to leave that control. Like, let it slip away. It's okay. You don't have to hold it all. You don't need to. It's fine. God's got you. Allow Him in. Okay? So, why now? Because now is all you have. And now it's calling you. And now doors are open. And now I'm available. So let's do it. I'm welcoming you. I am with open arms. There are not many spots left. Join me in creating this amazing movement towards a new reality where we are living on a higher level of consciousness, where we are exuding this contagious energy that's authentic and aligned, where we're lining up the world with God's light. This is what it's all about. Come and join me. Balance for God's sake. A free discovery call is waiting for you. Go do it. Love you. And don't forget to be connected for real. Mwah.